Hi guys, thanks a lot for joining us again this week for In For You. This week I'm throwing a somewhat of a curveball at the guys. It's awesome to have Christy and Stephen on as we do every week. They didn't know today until I updated the topic that we're talking Snapchat, live streaming and Twitter this week. So I've completely yoinked out the rug from under Stephen with no Facebook this week. It's a Q&A I've launched a couple of scopes and bits and pieces. So I've been over on Periscope and I've been using Snapchat to let people know about this broadcast. So we'll be bringing a new audience through. So it is open for questions this week. So if anyone wants to chuck up questions here on Blab, you can use the /Q to ask us those questions. We will be talking around all of those different topics, doing a Q&A, giving you guys some information on how those different platforms can be used. I'm going to let Stephen just do an intro, tell us a little bit about him and what he's about, whilst I quickly jump over and, keeping with topic, update my Snapchat. And then, Christy, if you want to do an introduction, that should give me enough time to push out the 3 Snapchats that I need to get out before I talk again. So,
sure. My name's Stephen. I'm gilded as one of the court of master sommeliers. I tweet a lot. Thank you for having me.
I love it in total Stephen style, short, sweet, and to the point. I am Christy Martin. I am.
I wasn't finished.
Oh.
So.
I love it. Go.
Between the 2 platforms, my strong suit actually is Twitter over Facebook, and I'll also confess and warn all of you: holiday bidding for ad attention on both platforms has gotten ridiculous. At this point, stay organic on Twitter and bid 51 cents on Facebook, and you'll be in the game, whatever industry. Okay, that's it.
I just love that you worked Facebook in there somehow. I knew you were going to. It was just a matter of how long it was going to take.
I can't figure out how to target on Snapchat yet. So,
but when you do,
but when I do,
that's awesome. So anyway, I'm nothing special. I'm Christy Martin. I am currently a network marketer.
You're listening to the wrong kind of motivational tapes.
I'm just going to chime in here. So, Christy, I tagged you in one of my scopes today. What you need to do is you need to go to my channel and you need to go to the first broadcast I did today. I know you guys are in Sunday, but it's telling you how to kick a Monday and how to change this week. And it quotes from Kevin Madison. So make sure after this show you go and watch that.
Well, you sure you don't want us to log off and do it now?
I know.
you can multitask. You can mute and listen to bits and then pause. Like I'm game. Like I'm doing 3 platforms at once. So why aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to listen when he does his intro. Is what I'm going to do.
So I'm also going to correct Christy in the fact that she is very special, but she can carry on.
Yeah.
Love this guy.
So do I. No, so thank you. I currently, like I said, network marketer. I've been. Hey, Anthony's in the gym. Hey. Oh, airport.
Yes, I am.
I thought it was the gym.
I only came in for one reason, and I'll jump out. I just wanted to make sure I saw Stephen on camera because he's never around. And also to let you know that she does exist. Here she is. That's Lisa. Turning to the side. There she is. There she is. We love her. And there's. Okay, you're not on. I'm over here. See, she's very shy. And I wanted to let Tristan know that I could probably eat a full lunch watching all his Snapchats. I mean, literally have like an hour lunch. So I enjoy all the Snapchats. Good stuff. So I'll be here on the side. I'm waiting for my flight to leave from Florida to go back to New York. So I just wanted to jump in and say hi. Missed you guys. I'll see you a little bit later.
Safe
Awesome.
travels.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you. Yeah.
So back to Christy to finish her.
Yeah. So anyway, I am a community manager with BTC Revolutions and hang out with these guys occasionally to do some awesome stuff here on Blab. So tell us about you, Tristan. Or do you need more time?
He's probably... This is my 3rd snap. I just literally was about to say hit publish. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So elevator pitch time. So I'm Tristan. I run a brand called AllThingsNetworking.com, where we help businesses and individuals to tell their stories better online, identifying the platforms that work best for them, and then helping them to leverage the platforms to the best of their abilities. At the moment, we've got a big drive on Periscope and Snapchat. We're doing some live training and a video training course online for anybody who's interested. But today is all about 45 minutes of giving you guys help answering your questions and giving you loads and loads of free content and value. So if anyone's got any questions around Snapchat, live streaming and Twitter, please use /Q here at Blab. And we'll try and get through those questions as we go through the show. Otherwise, I'm going to start firing a few questions off to the guys here. Like I said, it's curveball week, so I'm going to throw a few things out. So I'm going to ask both of you, firstly, are you on Snapchat? And if so, how much are you posting per day?
You first.
Sure. Yeah, I'm on it. I don't think I've created a Snap yet.
Okay.
I mean, I may have, but I don't think so.
I may have by accident.
Was it an accidental snaps?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I've done a
I
few.
do want to say Mallory sent me my favorite single snap to date in the onesie. Please send it again, Mallory. Please. Snapchat as it was intended.
Yes. I am on Snap. I don't snap very often. I've got to get some better storytelling skills. But every once in a while when something cool happens, I'm at a farmer's market that I think is really cool. Or the other day I did a snap, which you saw, of my son actually cooking pizza for the first time. And I like mixing it up with some video and some snaps. It's pretty cool.
I'm actually starting to see a little bit of trend actually in kids and cooking as well, which is awesome. Jana Steels has also done her daughter did. She was making sauce the other day, and like it may sound like she got a little bit over creative having watched like Junior MasterChef or something like that, but she had like truffle oils and parmesan and you name it was in there, and then they snapped afterwards actually to say it was really good. So they, so I snapped them and we had a bit of a chat backwards and forwards. So it's really good for connecting with people and allowing people to like reach out to you directly as well, depending on how you put your Snapchats out.
Broken camera. Get an Avi picture up there.
Yeah. Hey, good to see you, Robert. Thanks for joining us. I know that there's a few people here. Remember, with the questions, it's /Q. You need to put the / before. But I can see a question up on the side here that I'm going to address anyway. Why snap things instead of tweeting? Okay, so the visual platform. I'm going to give you the lowdown.
A statement of respect. The godfather of Blab, John Preto, has just entered our room.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for joining.
All rise, please. All rise.
So I'm going to answer the question around why you do that on Snapchat over Twitter. And there's actually I'm gonna challenge the question slightly. So I'll answer it and then I'll challenge the question itself. So the reason you do it on Snapchat is it's the #1 most opened app on a smartphone right now. Back in October, it was 6 billion video views a day, which means it had a higher video open rate than Facebook. And so the other thing is people choose to subscribe to you. There's no distraction because they own all of the real estate on your phone when you open a Snap. If you've ever been in it, they have your whole phone. You can't even see the clocks. So they own your whole phone. They've got your complete undivided attention. And because of the expiry of snaps, if it's a direct snap, if you open it, if you don't watch it, you miss it. And then you have to snap back and embarrassingly say, I didn't catch that. If it's in a story, you can go back and watch it again. But obviously, they've designed it to be a certain number of snaps, a certain number of time or length of time with an expiry, with the 24-hour expiry like Periscope as well. Now to challenge the question of why would you snap instead of Twitter? If you go to my Twitter account, you'll see it's not one or the other. You can actually download your snaps and repurpose them. I'm a big repurposer. I've actually put so when you download a series of snaps, they become a video, which you can then post out. So I download my whole day of video, and the one I posted today was actually a hat tip to NutriBullet, because I'm a NutriBullet user, which was a stop frame animation of me using a NutriBullet with products that I created on Snap, downloaded the video, and then posted to Twitter. So it's not one or the other, they're complementary mediums.
I just listened to you for 5 minutes and had absolutely no idea what I just listened to. I totally figure you just said something brilliant, and I've got absolutely no idea.
So I'll sum it up. Undivided attention on Snapchat. You can repurpose the content. So why do both? Like, why not do it, download it, and then put it out on Twitter as well? Because then you get the audience.
I honestly, I just don't have that much to say, and don't. You know what? I can't party with the cool kids anymore. I'm just I'm just not into creating content for Snapchat. More importantly, I don't see how I can benefit my clients by. Well, maybe. Actually, I do have one client that would really benefit from Snapchat. And now that you mentioned it, and the fact that you can repurpose content, I am incentivized to drive this client there. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to give you. So this is good. I feel like I'm giving you a lesson, Stephen. So I said no one was in the hot seat, but apparently it's you today. So that's all good as well. Like I said, these sessions are all about everyone learning from everyone else as well. So, Stephen, with regards to not understanding how to use it, so there's a really important piece of advice for people here is if you're a local business that requires local customers, so let's say that you're a cafe that doesn't sell anything online and people have to physically come to your location, you need to understand that the discovery with Snapchat comes from you telling people. So you tell your existing audience, you use your Snap code, so you can put your Snap code up on the window of the shop, things like that. People who are on Snapchat, as soon as they see that Snap code, will know instantly what they need to do. So they know to scan that code and things like that. So you don't have to explain to people what that code is about. You can just put it there and people will scan it. What then happens is you've got their undivided attention. So when someone is consuming your Snapchat, they're not doing anything else. There's no distractions, unlike if you're on Facebook where you could get messages or someone's birthday or a video plays in your stream. You've got their undivided attention. There's nothing else going on. So for those who don't know, that's what a Snap code looks like over on the side there. It's like if everybody remembers QR codes, that was a thing. Snapchat have used it really well in the fact that you basically scan to add. So basically, once someone's already following you, so the business puts their code up. So this is a local example. A restaurant might put it on their front door so that when they're closed, people passing by will scan the code to find out and just put some message that's a reason for people to scan it, like the latest info and deals, something like that, and the code. People will scan it. Now, what happens is you don't have to push your stuff to them because they choose to consume it. So because they're choosing to consume it, it's now the other way around. They've decided they want to follow you. As long as you're offering, again, whole thing of value, show them some behind the scenes, show them some exclusive stuff, the chef preparing food that they don't normally see, the barista making coffees, that kind of thing. But then drop in something of extra value that if they maybe screenshot the next snap and show you on a certain date, they can get a free muffin with their coffee, or they can get a half-price meal between 12 and 1, that kind of thing. So for a local business, it's a very specific thing. But the key to it as local is do not put your Snap code online, because then you get this vanity metric of, yeah, great, I've got like 1,000 people following me, but you can't convert people who aren't in the local area. If you're an e-commerce business or anything like that, put it everywhere. It should be your profile picture. It should be in your banners. It should be on all your print materials. You want as many people following as possible if you can provide the service to anywhere in the world. So that's the difference between the local and global.
Scrolling back in the comments, John Preto asked for the demographics on Snapchat. Is that
so I can give you some stats around that as well. So I've got specific Australian stats based around, because obviously primarily I'm doing a lot of work in Australia at the moment, but the demographic is actually, people are thinking that it's a kids platform, which is not true. Obviously, it started out that way. I'm going to drop an image in the links in the side there so you can click on it. That's the Australian statistics. So actually, 50% of users on Snapchat are over 18, which puts them in most people's target audience. And then I know for Australia, it's 24% of that whole 2 million back in October that we had in Australia. 24% of those are over 24. So people thinking it's a young teenage platform are very off the mark. And obviously, the more publicity it gets, the higher numbers of people are going to start engaging with it.
Sure. How do you measure on Snapchat? How do you create an ROI model?
So again, if it's I'll give you an example for a local business, a cafe running something where they did an offer where you could come in and get something. Obviously, they track that in store. So when you come in to claim, it's the same as if you gave coupons out in a newspaper when they come in. So this is the perfect way to do it for a cafe or a local business. Is you run your story, so you give some engagement, so there's something interesting for them to watch, and then you run an offer where it says, "Send us a snap to get your code," right? And then that means you've got engagement with them, a direct interaction with them. And then you snap them back saying, come into the store and show us your code in order to redeem this. The beauty of this is if the business account hasn't already got them added, what are you going to do when they come in and go, here's my code? You scan their code and now you've got them. So you can mess it like you've got them and you know who's redeeming codes and things. You also obviously keep a track of how many people are doing that, and so you would probably want to take a photo of it so you've got it in your camera roll, and then at the end of the day you can go, we did 100 transactions from Snapchat today, and then from the photos you can add them by snap code.
Cool.
That's awesome. A little bit harder with your e-commerce side, but I guess that comes down to what's your process for onboarding a new client. Is one of your questions in that onboarding process should be, where did you hear about us? Yeah. For me, I've actually done a Periscope talking around Snapchat, and I've already had 3 or 4 people add and snap me saying, hey, I want to learn more. Because the best place to teach someone the platform is on the platform, right? Which is part of why we do this show and talk people through doing their advertising stuff here. So yeah, it's that's kind of my answer around the how you measure the return side of it.
Predo, is this something you could see Tyson using? I didn't think so.
So let's move to Twitter then, being that I've yoinked Facebook out and we're saying that this is your top platform. I'm going to let you chime in a little bit around a couple of just quick tips on people who are starting out with Twitter, because basically a lot of people, once they're heavily involved in a platform, quite often forget the very basic kind of key points that are what make things work in the first place. So Stephen, let's talk around for new users, Twitter, like why it works, how it works, and what are the kind of best practices for it.
Sure. So Twitter is most commonly mistaken as an extension of your digital marketing, as another place to distribute content, and that's not how it works most effectively. Twitter is a conversational platform, and you should be on there ready to engage. It should be kind of an extension of your conversational protocol. Twitter is a great place to build organic relationships around any topic, plain and simple. You can target. It is a great marketing platform, but that's not how it works best. It works best organically and conversationally. I got to hop off. Sorry, guys.
Yep, okay. No worries. So a lot of people ask around the whole Twitter, why should I use Twitter, and what's kind of the point of it. Stephen touched on a good thing there. It's really good for engaging and working with people. I'm just dropping a link in the chat here, and it'll be available under the video as well, is we wrote a blog post around why Twitter. Why is it important to be on there? Twitter's actually effectively the third strongest search engine in the world, only kind of seconded to Google and YouTube, which is essentially the same thing. So basically it allows you to do, so that first one tells you why. I'm going to drop a second link. So I'm a bit going crazy on the link drops today, but I want you guys to get as much value from this show as possible. There's a post around what's the real power of Twitter. Basically, a lot of people don't know and don't realize that you can do what's called an emotive search. So you can, I'm going to let JS in. You can do what's called an emotive search. So we did a live thing during a talk that we were giving for, as an example, for Pizza Hut. So you can directly, if you're in a business and you've obviously, if you're in an industry, you've probably got competitors. Most competitors have unhappy customers. They're the easiest people to convert over to your business. They're because they're pre-qualified, right? They're interested in the type of product or service you're offering. They then also have like a willingness to pay, and then they're also unhappy with your competitor. So if you can offer them an alternative, you don't have to sell to them. They've already pre-qualified. They're going, oh, cool. So the example of Pizza Hut and Domino's, if you can find an unhappy Domino's customer, you can reach out and go, sorry, Domino's let you down. Why don't you try Pizza Hut, have a pizza on us, or have a half-price pizza? Yeah. And the way you do that with Twitter is you would reach out, you would use a Twitter video, you would use their names to make it personal, you would address their problem, and then you would make them an offer. So 3 quick things that you can do that will absolutely drive people through straight in as like customers, because you've pre-qualified them before you do it. So that's the power of Twitter, and that's why you need to use it. Hey JS, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, good.
Oh.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to bring a couple of questions and stuff in on the side
it's
here
funny.
as well.
I just started Wednesday night. We do a thing called Nerd World, and I'm doing a segment on Wednesday night called "Don't Be a Twittiot." Yeah. This is, speaking with some people who are very knowledgeable in the space. The bad news is almost everybody that's on Twitter, or a huge percentage of people on Twitter, are feeling like they're not getting any results. The good news is most of those people are not doing things that are working, that are right. So, some of the unfortunately, I don't know who's teaching people to do stuff like follow people, and then when you've got a bunch of people that are following you back, unfollow them, because you'll look like a big shot if you have 30,000 people following you and you only follow 100. That's very wrong. There's a guy on there now who's following 50,000 people, and almost none of them have tweeted since 2013. Guess what? You have 0 engagement when that happens. So there are mistakes. Don't use autoresponders unless you really, really, really know what you're doing. I get autoresponders from people all the time, and then I write back and say things like, my favorite color is red. What's yours? Or I'll even answer their autoresponder, and they never respond back. And Stephen was absolutely right. It is a place to have conversations, and it is a place to listen. It's not a place to broadcast. It's my feeling. The other thing too is I think people look at Twitter and they say Twitter is this thing, and then they use things like Hootsuite or whatever, and they refer to those as the tools. Actually, Twitter is the tool.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna, whilst you're doing that, I'm gonna just jump across and answer the question that we brought up on screen here. Someone's asking, can you buffer or Hootsuite for Snapchat? So just jumping quickly back to that, Snapchat, the whole idea is that everything is live in the moment. You can slightly gamify, and I'll tell you how you do this, is if you want to post slightly later to a story, turn your data off. You can turn your data off, collect a load of snaps, and then when you push them out, their timing is still exactly the same. So if I took a snap now with data off and post it in an hour, it will only have 23 hours of life on the platform. But it means I could post it later. So it allows me to delay a post. That's the only way to do it. However, if you turn your data back on, it will post out. It will post through the platform for you. So you can't use Buffer and Hootsuite for Snapchat. It's a right here, right now thing. And that's why it's the urgency level of it that is the reason that the platform works. So I'm going to bring in another one. Lots of Snapchat questions going on today. So the benefits of Snapchat versus Periscope. Okay, so again, you have a complete undivided attention. The retention rate for Periscope is usually fairly low with the number of people who stay for a full broadcast. It's because it's a short form, whether it's photos or videos, you basically keep people's attention pretty much 100% of the time when you put snaps out, because there's no distraction, there's nothing going on, there's not hearts going up the side of the screen, there's not other people's comments that they could be engaging in. So what you're saying through a snap delivers and lands really, really well with the people. And again, similar to Periscope, they've chosen to come and listen and to subscribe to you. So that's the power, and that's why I would say Snap has that. However, there's somewhat of a delay in, hey, I did this, snap me back. People consume at their own rate. So I might ask that now, and then it might be that Christy doesn't see it for 12 hours because of time zones, and then she snaps me back. So you need to be mindful of, you can't go snap me back and wait for answers to then reply. It's a completely different style of use.
Aren't there's I'm not big in that space, but SnapUp or SaveSnap, or there's some third parties I thought that allow you to do delayed Snapchats.
Okay, so a piece of advice on third-party apps for Snapchat: don't use them.
I know they hate them.
You will get blocked. Somebody that we work very closely with has actually had direct messages from Snapchat saying stop using third-party apps. They know when the other third-party apps are being used. There is obviously people have jailbroken and things like that. Again, not very advisable, because why spend the time building up something and then losing it? There are other ways to get around the platform, which I'm actually going to be doing a whole show around Snapchat and all of that side of it very, very soon. And I'm actually I'm putting together a Snapchat course with some of the big Snapchat users, which will be available on our website very, very soon. For people who want to do that. It's actually tied in with Periscope, because again, that question of why Periscope versus Snapchat, and pre-registration for that's open now. I've just dropped a link on the side if anyone's interested.
I just wanted to respond to Stephen over in the chat room, because he has really bad allergies and stuff, and apparently he's not feeling well right now. So I just wanted to say, Stephen, hope you're feeling better soon. And I know what it's like. Yeah, I get hit with that stuff myself. So
yeah, absolutely, and that's it. Like we're collaborating and bringing the knowledge, and I know that Stephen will still be contributing from the side over there, and making sure that he's trying to interact and engage with you guys, because you've come to spend time with us here. So I'm going to chuck in another question. So firing through the questions on the side here. Thanks a lot for all the questions as well, by the way, guys. Really appreciate the high engagement level today. So someone asking, I'm new to Blab. So this is Karen Ward. I'm new to Blab. I'm considering using this platform instead of Blog Talk. What's your thoughts? So JS, got thoughts on this?
Again, I don't know if it's an either or on this kind of thing. If you're comfortable working on Blog Talk and you've got ways of checking or seeing if you've got meeting milestones and goals, then that's great. A lot of people come to Blab and they find there's a big difference between being in a chat room or even being in a seat and contributing and actually running Blabs. So I would suggest, try a few Blabs and see how comfortable you are doing them. There is some advice I can give people as far as Blabs are concerned. One of which is try and bring people from outside of the Blab community in. Promote your Blabs in other media and, even things like Reddit. Here's one really great tip that you should do for any of your streaming media. Go ahead and do a free Evite. And people will find you that way. You can also set up your Blabs as part of meetups if you want. So there are a lot of really interesting ways that you can promote your content, but you can do that with other things as well. It doesn't have to be a Blab. It can be a Periscope. It can be a lot of different stuff, but do as much as you feel comfortable with and work a program so that you can be able to check and see where you're getting results from. It's too open-ended. I don't know what type of a business, what you're trying to do. Blab certainly works for certain things, but it's a pretty small community right now. You know, if you're going to do things on Blab, it might make sense to take the video afterwards. You do get an MP4 and an MP3 from it and repurpose it. So if you're doing Blabs and you're not putting this stuff back up on YouTube or on your own sites or whatever, you're missing opportunities there. So I think it's just about leveraging it. But I don't see it as an either or. I just see it as a doing as much as you feel comfortable doing and doing the things you feel comfortable. I mean, everybody says to me, I need to be in Snapchat. I don't resonate with it, at least not right now. So I'm not there. Maybe I'm missing opportunities, but then again, you could be missing opportunities doing everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about, again, I put out 3 Periscopes this morning and then a Snapchat story, and then I'm in here on Blab. And it's about using this. I say this in everything that I'm doing, is everything is about your time management. Everyone's got the same amount of hours in a day. It's finding the tools and the resources to make the best use of your time and understanding where your time is well spent. You don't want to get sucked into the rabbit hole of trying to do everything. It's really, really important to put your time and effort into the things that are working for you and your business, or to tell your story if you're using it on a personal level. So I think, again, that Blab is a great tool for telling your story, for creating your content. But like JS said, consider what you're doing with it, repurposing. I've thrown a link up on the side for the Create in 30 show that I do with Sarah Moore. It talks massively about repurposing. During that 30-minute show, we're live repurposing all the content. So it's going out on Twitter, it's going out through other socials, and then we repost the video and stuff to YouTube as well afterwards. So massive advocate for that. So use it as a tool and create the content and then use it the way that is best for your audience. Again,
and Johnny's mentioning he's been on Snapchat for 3 years and it's working well for him. Yep. Snapchat is something that I might recommend a client of mine use as part of an overall approach. So there are things that I choose not to do. I don't do online reputation management. I don't feel like I need it, but I'm going to refer a lot of my brands do it. My clients aren't going to be everywhere, but if I'm working with a large brand or even a small brand, a local, a geo-local business, I'm going to suggest where they go based on where we have a sense that their clients or potential clients are going to be. So if you can't exhibit good listening skills and a response to the needs of your client in any particular space in social media, don't do it. You're better off picking a few modes and doing extremely well there and being very responsive there than spreading yourself thin and being mediocre in a lot of modes. At least that's my thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. So just jumping ahead I want to try and get through as many questions because they're coming thick and fast today. So Ramona's asked, hi guys, great Blab. Do you think Blabs are good to use with mastermind groups? Now, this totally depends on using the tools right for what you're doing. If you've got like an exclusive mastermind group, there's 2 schools of thought on this. And one is it's great for you to engage and bring your people to have the conversation and to mastermind with them. However, remember that Blab is an open platform. So if you've got a resource that's a paid resource that people have got exclusive access to, Blab is not the right place to be doing it because
Zoom, Appear.in
can get on it. Yeah, we've got a whole range of other services. We use Appear.in for all of our pre-show get-together chats and stuff like that because it's a private forum that we can set up and even use. It's very similar to Blab, so it's really easy to use.
And if you don't need videos, GoToMeeting will even work well.
Yeah. So that's what I would suggest for masterminds as well. Is there a way to value a Twitter chat? I'm guessing what's kind of the return on investment. It depends. You need to have kind of a clear call to action. You need to be running analytics, using hashtags and things like that, and then running analytics on how many tweets, who's using it, and even looking to who those accounts are and what the value of those accounts are to you and your business. Obviously, with everything in marketing, there's direct and indirect return on investment to consider in the fact that you may actually benefit further down the line from running Twitter chats, that someone might engage with your Twitter chat for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they need a service that your business offers. They'll reach out they'll reach out and basically ask you for a service. So there's not, it's again down to your process of when you onboard people for your business or service, asking how they heard about you, and then you'll be able to find out those things as well.
The one of the things I would like in a Twitter chat too is if you've ever been to an unconference. Normally you go to a regular conference, there's 1,000, 2,000 people, you're running around and you're trying to meet as many people as you can, and often it's ineffectual. Twitter chats are smaller amounts of people. If they take place on a regular basis and you get repeat people, you get to know them, and they tend to be highly engaged, the ones that I go to, and the number of tweets and retweets is unbelievable. So again, I think it's wonderful because you create a smaller community where people get to know you, your service, your product, whatever your message is, a lot better, but you also get to know them. It's a way of also developing advocates. If you are looking for people to beta test or run things by or whatever, these are the people you might want to go to first. So a lot of benefits that don't show up immediately in an ROI evaluation.
Yeah, cool. Let's bring in another one here. So I don't have a business per se. Looking at it as a TV radio show and looking for advert sponsorship. So yeah, so basically with that, what you would do is, this is how we set up a partnership with Microsoft. Is what were they trying to achieve? What did they want? They were launching a product for students, and we basically had a captive audience of 24,000 students that we had direct access to through a brand we were building. So for them to align with us and do a strategic partnership was it was well spent advertising dollars, because we already built the relationship. So we saved them a massive amount of time for doing that. What you need to do is prove that you've got a highly engaged audience and look at all the analytics again, get those analytics, document them. And I would even say, before you go for sponsorship, run some of the stuff, get all the figures and show that it's consistent as well, because any big sponsor will want to have a history of good rather than here's a statistic for 1 week. I want to know how you perform long term. So that's what I would say for going for sponsorships. Cool. Matt McLeod asked about checking for active Twitter users, and I know that Stephen answered this one over in the chat. So I'm going to pull this one down because it's been addressed already directly in here. Bring this down. Already answered that. For some reason, the questions popped up again. Strange.
Oh.
Okay, so anyone's got any questions? I'd love actually for Johnny. I'm not sure if you can talk. If you are free, please feel free to jump in the spare seat now whilst we're between questions, because I know that John's
I think there were a few on the side, but didn't have a queue.
I'm not sure. Christy, did you catch any that were not queued?
No, I saw some questions going on in personal conversation, but
cool. So yeah, there's
not.
I'm also going to say here, where we've talked about repurposing and using the things correctly, it's really, really important to think about whenever you're creating any content, where we talk about making the best and most efficient use of your time. Like this, we go live with a show, we do 45 minutes of help, but this actually gets repurposed later, and we try to use it, for a blog. It definitely goes out to YouTube so that it increases the discovery element as well, so people can come and find it. But obviously the best place to engage with this is actually at Blab. So you can just come and join us same time every week at blab.im/ATW networking. You'll find as a link below the video if you're still watching on one of the repurposed videos. So whatever content you're creating, think about the longevity of your content. Can I create a piece of content in one place that can be used in multiple places? Like when I join into Twitter chats and things like that, and I hear what we call tweetables, so like a one-liner that someone said, I might go in and create a graphic for Instagram and a graphic for Twitter, and that's still essentially the same piece of content, but rolling it out at different times across different platforms can really drive a massive amount of engagement. And one of the tools that I'm a massive advocate for is a buffer. You can get on it as a free service, and you can go in and basically it allows you on the free version to have if you sign up straight through the website, you get 10 spaces per social profile. If you sign up through the link that I'm going to drop in the side here, it's a referral link. You get an extra space, so it's 11 spaces. And then you can basically schedule things to go out. Now, what you need to think about that is that's your broadcast content. So that's the stuff you're putting out, but you need to remember to still engage on every platform that you push content out through. There's no point nowadays just broadcasting content. You have to be engaging with your audience where they are. So you can use it. So like this, when this finishes, this video will get uploaded to YouTube. We'll then get, we then actually create a bit.ly link for the YouTube video so that we can track click through. And then actually we actually track that twice because it gets tracked by bit.ly and it gets tracked by buffer when it gets pushed through per tweet. So basically when we put it into our buffer queue, so it might schedule to say go out in 4 hours, in 12 hours, in 24 hours, so that different people will see that at different times. We've tracked the total click-throughs by bit.ly, and then buffer will also have a track per tweet that goes out and tell you how many times people clicked on that based on the times that go out. And there's a whole load of strong analytics behind all of the posts you put out through buffer. You can basically schedule your tweets and your posts to other platforms based around how they perform. It gives you a complete set of analytics in the back end. So I would highly recommend you guys at least take a look. Like I say, it's a free service, and then the bottom end level paid service that gives you slightly more tools is only $10 a month. So I would highly recommend using Buffer as a tool for your scheduling and some of your analytics. It doesn't offer you all of the analytics that you might want, but it's definitely worth looking at for tracking some of the bits and pieces that you're doing. Definitely have a look at Buffer for that.
Speaking of analytics and Twitter, I'm amazed at how many people don't know that there is pretty extensive analytics right in Twitter at the top of the page. Yeah. And also one other piece of low-hanging fruit that a lot of people are missing on, pin a tweet. If you're doing a regularly based show, if you're doing a show on Blab or Periscope or whatever, you pin a tweet on that, put a really nice graphic up there with a picture of whoever you think is going to appeal to your base of followers, and pin that tweet so that when people go in and look at your profile or look at your page, they're going to see that all the time. So I think that's a real important thing. Also, create some different 6 to 15 second pieces of video content from whatever it is that you're doing, and use that, sprinkle that in all over the place. You can put a 10-second video promo of something that's coming up on a page that's unrelated, completely unrelated. If again, the people who are going to be looking at that particular page have the proclivity or the interest where they might want to go see whatever it is that you're promoting. So those are just a couple of my low-hanging fruit tips that I've got.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that Twitter is pushing more towards making the analytics much more visual for people now. You can now actually see on the desktop version, it shows you how your tweets have performed for the last 24 hours. It's now become somewhat of a visual feature on the side where it blocks it into 2-hour segments to show you on a graph, a chart, how well each 2-hour block is performing for you, so that you can get a very visual analytics straight away, which obviously you want to delve a little bit deeper to which tweets were performing and things like that. So it's definitely worth looking into the analytics. I see that someone's said over here about using native links and doesn't think the buffer analytics are that good. So it's about understanding what you want to get from your analytics and therefore using the analytics that are right for you. Knowing that, like, what the reach could be of your tweets and things. Obviously, it shows you things like your potential reach, but it also tells you how many people clicked on a link, how many people have shared it, how many people liked it, and how many people have retweeted it, which obviously that's quite an important thing. And you can actually then just go back to Twitter and like JS was saying, there's baked into Twitter, there's some really great analytics within the platform. If you go to a tweet on the desktop, there's a 3 dots bit that offers you a whole load more interactions with that tweet, and you can it's not even there, it's now a chart, so you can see a little bar chart there. Click that and it shows you what the engagements are for the tweet. So that's a really good one, and you'll find that your pinned tweets will always will always
perform very well.
Perform really well, because people are coming to, if they want to check out who you are, what do they see when they come there, right? So they see your top pinned tweet, and so that's a really, really important and powerful thing there. So so Buffer is also, there's a question here, is it also an app? So you can actually all on the go. The beauty of something like Buffer is if you're using Chrome and the extension, I actually do my Buffer content within Twitter. So I go to Twitter, type what I want, because it gives me that whole 140 characters. And then I go post to Buffer because it gives me a Buffer button. It loads Buffer, and I can select all the platforms, and then I can customize the message for the platforms. Because I'm on the paid version, I can use the power scheduler that allows me to say, post this now, post it in 4 hours, post it in 8 hours, post it in 12 hours, and I can customize each time I post it. So it's a really powerful tool. Make sure that you repurpose your content as well. Don't just, again, this is the time management element of it. Don't just post content out and then go, cool, I did a show on Blab and I got, 100 people watched it live, and that's that. Think about how you can use that. Is there nuggets of information that can go in a blog? Can they go out as tweetables? Can you repurpose a video for YouTube? Do you want to put it out as a podcast? There's a whole range of things that you can do with your content. So it's really, really important to work out how to best use your time.
Do you use search.twitter.com?
Sorry, I lost you.
Do you use search.twitter.com?
So are you talking about going in through using advanced search?
Yeah, so this search.twitter.com, if people want to see things that are trending, if you want to get a kind of an idea, it's a great site that you can go on and you can check to see things that are going on Twitter now, or how. Anyway, just play around with it. Search.twitter.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Going into there and talking about seeing what's trending, it's also really important to have a look at changing what. If you go to the homepage of Twitter from a desktop, it shows you the trends. So for me, obviously being in Australia, I need to be aware of what global trends are. I also need to be aware of Australian trends, but then I can drill right down to what's trending right now in Sydney for a specific audience. So it's important to be aware of those trends, because they're opportunities to leverage what's going on in the world already, where there's a lot of, as Brian Fanzo says, digital eyeballs are looking at that content already. They're watching the hashtag. Obviously, don't just spam it with something that's irrelevant. Find a way to curate content around what people are already talking about as well. So if it can somehow tie into what's going on, like a lot of people, obviously now, Christmas trees, things like that will be quite high on the trending list, being December. And so write your content specific to, things I learned from Christmas, or how to avoid stress at Christmas. That make content that's relevant, and then you can obviously leverage that to bring those digital eyeballs to your own specific content and your own sites. I am very aware that we are actually 5 minutes over time, which is not bad for us. We're still fairly on time. We're trying to keep it to a 45-minute thing. So if anybody wants any more help and advice, please do feel free to reach out to any of the guys here. I'm sure JS will drop you some nuggets of information. Christy's always more than willing to help, and so is Stephen.
Yes.
Reach out to us.
Reach out to Stephen. This is what he does. So get a hold of him.
Yeah, so do
just
that.
a poor substitute for Stephen at the moment.
And you can, if you've got questions and they're not urgent and you need a specific answer straight away, we do collect questions throughout the week using the hashtag. So you can use the hashtag #IN4YOU. That's IN4YOU. And throughout the week, we take your business questions and we bring them to the show each week.
I love how Steven's hair was up like 30 minutes ago, and now that dog has licked it off.
Awesome.
So I couldn't sit up. And this is a dog that I'm dog sitting, and I thought, I jumped out. And since I can't sit up, I should at least show you what's happening here.
You look like you are now wearing
Vicky wants to know if that's your new hairdresser.
So I'm just going to wrap up and go off the record, and then we can have a quick chat. Thanks a lot again. Thanks JS for jumping in. Thanks to Christy for being an awesome community manager for for us here. Thanks to Stephen and the dog that he's dog sitting for making a very brief appearance at the end. Thank you to everybody who watched live, everyone who contributed questions before the show that we brought in via the hashtag #InForYou over at Twitter. Appreciate everyone who's done that.
Don't go off the record yet. We have a really great question that just came in. What's the best platform or dashboard for Snapchat analytics?
Okay, so Nick Cicero actually runs an analytics platform. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I will do a tweet out about that afterwards. So if you watch my Twitter, is at ATW Networking. I'll be tweeting that out through our thing. And for everyone who's watching on a replay, that link for the apps analytics platform will be, so Snapchat will be underneath. Yeah, for Snapchat analytics. So if you want to catch that, you can check the links that's below the video or watch for our tweets. So thanks a lot again, guys, everyone who watched live, everyone who watched on the replays, and everybody who shared and got involved in the broadcast. We do this at the same time every week. And then you can rewatch these over at YouTube as well. Thank you very much for all of your time, questions, and the content you guys bring every single week. We'll catch you the same time next week.